Hey guys, thanks for watching my channel, I guess is what they call it. Skywide Amateur Radio Club 2023 field day. Just gonna do a quick walkthrough here. Sunday morning, a lot of stuff going on yesterday morning, getting set up for field day to make some contacts, try out different things. Kind of amazing the amount of stuff that kind of gets brought, because you're also camping, right? And you don't want to forget this, you don't want to forget this and that. So John, BOF, yesterday got his 40-meter antenna set up, and with his analyzer and everything, got everything all figured out. It looks great. And he's using the military poles. He's got it up, I think it's about 20 plus something feet. He's got a pulley on the top, guide down properly. It looks fantastic. Anyways, he's got the SWR down on 1.2 to 1 on 40 meters and the frequency section he wanted, and great bandwidth, so no tuner required. And this is Roger's property. Very gracious and generous of him to host us. So gas cans, Honda generator, nice and quiet. Sleeping tent. We've got kind of the, I don't know, I would call it the Western tent. Got some stuff set up there. Sleeping tent. John's in here doing some stuff here, getting ready. I think he might do some FT8. He's got some solar panels to try out. He's got the fan. Fan's very important because it's been really hot here. And John's got a little cooking area there. Then we've got the hunting blind. So this is IPS's setup in here. You know, once I stacked some boxes and stuff like that, you know, I brought a whole pile of radios and did some mods and stuff like that. It actually works out pretty good. So very, very happy with it. We put a tarp on it because it rained all Friday night, so the tarp was kind of necessary to keep the water off. So I'm not sure how waterproof that is. And looking inside of it, I could already see some areas there. I think I'm going to get some seam sealant and start doing some sealing so it's a little bit more waterproof. Again, if you're hunting, it's not a big deal if you get a little bit wet, but if you got sensitive radio equipment, it could be a problem. So another sleeping area here, of course. We have a light stand here with an end-fed halfway antenna up high. So this is kind of the NVIS antenna, kind of low to the ground. This is what I call the Eastern tent. Tom and Ron have kind of been hanging out over here, and we've been, you know, cross-pollinating, walking around, stuff like that. So again, solar panels, hunting blind. That turned into a storage area because these guys had all their radios set up here to do all their stuff. So that worked out pretty good. Huge fan as well too off the generator. Mr. Tom is still sleeping away in his inside his car. He's got a taco style bed. Because the mattress doesn't fit in perfectly, so it's kind of a U shape. And Ron's got his pup tent here. He's got the S9 antenna that he put here. Tom brought his J-pole. I brought mine as well, but I didn't end up setting it up. He's got the FC40 tuner feeding off his Yaesu stuff. Ron's pretty much a Yaesu man, but he owns more ICOMs than Yaesu, so he's just a ham guy. And he's in his truck here listening to his scanner, sleeping. And then on Roger's property here, he's got his microlight trailer, which is working out fantastic for him. And I wasn't sure why we brought a fire pit, but in the evening, you crank up the fire pit and sit around and shoot the breeze and chit-chat and stuff like that. Social elements, right? Ham radio was the first social application. They brought the power torch here. That's how you start a fire really, really quick. So again, Roger's got a generator. He's got a couple of panels there, keep things charged up. Now the antenna's over here. We got a J-pole that it's kind of a permanent structure here that Roger using, and you can see the wire for the chameleon antenna. So on the chameleon, worked out pretty good. I had to get the wires up higher, so we spent time throwing up hockey pucks and chargers, arborist slingshots. And it's a tactical dipole with the two 60-foot elements. So this was kind of like the 40 and 80 meter antenna. I didn't really do anything on 80 meters, but it's so quiet up here, low noise. In fact, there was more noise on 20 meters. And then here I got the T2FD antenna from Radio Waves. This is a military style antenna, pretty popular, but this is a 20 meter version. That's why it's so short. The normal version, like the BMW 3.5 to 30-30, that's it's about 90 feet. And that has to be, these antennas have to be up pretty high. So this here, you can see it's probably only up about 6 feet off the ground. I just wasn't really happy with it. Low noise, because it's a loop, but I found it's just too low to the ground, and NVIS doesn't happen at 14 megs anyway, so I just found it was a little bit of a struggle. I can hear some stations pretty good, but getting a signal out was a little bit of a struggle. So I put out the MC750 vertical here. You can see the 4 elements plug and play. It's all tuned to go, and it's a vertical whip antenna. And check this out, Jesse, he's got markings on it where the bands are. So I just put this here, went inside 1.2 to 1 SWR right out of the box. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to look at a sheet. Just pull this up and down. So Jesse did a really good job. And then we've got the Buddy Hex sitting on a MassWorks mast. This is a rotatable beam, provides it's about, I don't know, 3-4 dB frontal gain. It's about, it could be an S unit, depending on the bands, could be more, 10 meters and 6 meters, a little bit more because of the element spacing. And I was able to put it up. I put it up myself. Took me about, I think, 40 minutes. I had to reread the instructions, and everything went together smoothly. Guide down, of course. And right now we've got a little station set up. Ian IMP is running FT8 on his ICOM 705. He's got the WinCamp case for it. We were talking about that case over the POVI and how brilliant the 705 is. It's, you know, Ian's a portable operator, just like me, and he's running it off a really nice iPad, and he's doing FT8. So right now he's working stations, KC4 GKK with using the excellent SDR control app. I know, it's $70, but it's well worth it. You just push a button, FT8, communicates over Wi-Fi with the radio, and sets everything up, and
yeah, look at how
away you go. Look at the stuff the guy's
on the
getting.
Waterfall. It tags who is where on the waterfall, because it's
Yeah.
decoded their FT8 packets, and they said, look, this is where this guy is, this is where this guy is, right?
Just awesome. So now it turned red. What is that?
Transmitting.
Oh, okay. So you're calling CQ and guys are answering you?
Just trying to hit up one particular guy right now, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, right, the only problem with field day and FT8 is people are changing their exchange. Normally FT8, you just say your call sign and your grid square, but people are going and they're doing the 4 Alpha, Ontario South, stuff like that. The SDR software for the iPad just doesn't handle it very well.
Yeah, so Marcus is in Germany, right? Yeah, we're going to have to talk to him because they really kind of don't do field day the way we do, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of an ARRL thing.
So who's right, who's wrong? Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's just, it'd be nice if the software did the
yeah, so I think Marcus will have a feature enhancement with...
He's good. He's very responsive.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do you think? Like, compared to what you were picking up yesterday, do you pick up more off the hex beam? We are pointed somewhat south.
I mean, absolutely. Height is might, right? To have a hex beam up that high is going to make a pretty substantial difference in terms of your SWR. A lot of times when I go portable, I just use the Chameleon F loop.
Yeah.
And the reason for that and using FT8 with the F loop is because, you know, tuning the loop, constantly trying to hunt and pounce and tune the loop, you're never really going to get it right on that frequency that you want to be on to catch somebody. But with FT8, because it's just stationary at 14.074, you hook the nano VNA up to the loop, you get a good tune, and then you sit back and you just let it do its thing. You don't need to mess with the antenna anymore.
And Ian, you've got the aluminum tubing one, right? That's higher Q than the LMR 400, 600 coax, right?
I didn't bring the rigid loop this time around. I just brought the LMR 400, like
yeah.
you said, right? Because it's a little less portable. You know, and I know, didn't they go from you having 3-segment loop to having a 2-segment loop, which is what I have, to having now a 1-segment loop? And that does make sense in terms of the mag loop, right? Because if you don't really wing those connections super tight and make sure you got a great contact, because of the high voltage, you'll lose a lot of your signal just with not tightening it down, right?
Yeah, but you can't backpack it, right?
Yeah, I understand why they went to the single piece loop. It makes sense. But if you try to take it anywhere portable, like you got an aluminum hula hoop that you're walking around with. So it's nice to have that option if you're just, you know, around the neighborhood or whatever. But if I was going out it all packs into one bag with the LMR 400, so that's really nice.
Yeah, and Chameleon's done a great job with these kits, right? They kind of came from that military background. So if you look at like a Harris antenna, it's a backpack.
Yep.
And it's got all kinds of stuff in it. You can put together 8 different antennas.
Yeah.
The MPass, so I'm using the tactical dipole, but these two 60-foot wires, you could add that to the MPass antenna. You could buy the Balun separate, put it in the bag, or use the Cha hybrid Balun that comes with it. It's a different form factor, but you could set it up the exact same way. But you got a vertical, you got horizontal, you got different wire lengths, you got different stuff to play with. Chameleon's kind of made this modular approach, right? You want a backpack, then you got the tubing that comes apart. But if it's fixed use, you may have a single fixed tubing because that'll give you a little bit better efficiency. And I think you were saying with the high Q and on FT8, you're able to get that 3 kilohertz bandwidth, and on either side the SWR goes up, so that's like a front end. Yeah. So it's kind of really peaks in that frequency, and being weak signal work, you know, you've optimized the front end on the antenna for the SDR to play with, similar to a roofing filter on a radio.
Yeah, and
now the ICOM 705 doesn't have a roofing filter, but the roofing filter is a function of that mag loop because the 60-foot antenna is broadband. It picks up everything. And so that's why you get that low noise, right?
I understand why some people say, oh, you know, mag loop, poop loop, why would you bother, right? Well, a few reasons. One is, if you're going out to a park in Toronto, you can't touch the trees. You're not allowed to put wires in trees in parks in Toronto. So this is an antenna that you can put on a tripod, mount on the ground, and you're good, you're golden. And I understand why people say, you know, oh, poop loop, like it's not efficient, right? But like you said, you really have to tune it. It's very, very sensitive. And if you're just doing SSB and you're not using an antenna analyzer and you're just going for sort of a rough ear tune, you're gonna lose some power. You're not